If I can still propose the order of who is going to answer first, then I would go with Igor, who has the following question about the business concept of working with a different product, namely not olives, but potatoes. And let me ask this question in Russian. Как вы относитесь к быстро окупаемым инвестициям в бионедвижимость?
I will ask this question in Russian. How do you treat the investments that bring quick return, like investments in potato plantations? Игорь, вы ответите на эти вопросы?
Я, прежде чем ответить на вопросы, к сожалению...
Before I start answering the question, unfortunately, I didn't want to say this during my presentation, and I will say it right now. I hope that all the audience members that have felt interested in my presentation, please send us your email addresses, and we will circulate this material amongst you. And if I get your requests, then we will share the olive oil with you. We would like you to taste it. So if you provide us with your addresses, we will provide you with a sample of our olive oil, so you would visit Georgia in terms of the olive oil flavor. As for Georgia and regarding the potato, oftentimes we're asked, why do we do this kind of business? Is there any other opportunity to develop something else? First and foremost, I would say that we were oriented to the to long-lasting agriculture, horticultures. As you know, the olive trees are growing for many centuries. Also, the olive culture is to the least influenced by different diseases, and thus we can actually guarantee that these olive plants will be inherited by our clients' next generations, which, if you compare it to potatoes, is impossible.
Nuri with us. There is a question from Andre concerning the passport. The question is as follows: passport of which country I can get?
Adam, I can read, I can write, and yes. По поводу урожайности. Андрей, ситуация сложилась такая. Оливковое дерево растет, и,
The
конечно...
situation is as follows. The olive tree is growing, and of course, year by year, it yields more and more. The first yield is about 25 kgs per one tree, or 4 liters of olive oil. The olive oil in the marketplace will cost about 5 USD, or about 4.44 euros and 30 euro cents. That's the average cost of olive oil in the market right now. If we consider 1 hectare, we are planting about 600 trees per 1 hectare, and in the first yield, 1 hectare gives us about 12,000 USD. Then, of course, the yield is increasing, and 10 years down the road, we can our yield will actually I will give you the figures minus our service. I will give you the level of your revenue. 10 years down the road, it will be 50 USD per each tree. If we multiply 600 by 50 USD, we will get about 30,000 USD per 1 hectare. Of course, some years yield more, some years yield less. But the olive horticulture is rather stable in terms of statistical data. And there cannot be any years with no yield at all, like in case with chestnut, for example. Well, thank you, Igor. Now they have a question for me. As for regarding the special regime for Ukrainians, I will read it in English now.
And so Maria is asking, isn't it too late to relocate my assets? I'm from Ukraine. Is there any special conditions for Ukrainians? So there is never too late if to answer straight away. If you are in need and talking about the opportunities in Poland, it is definitely not too late. We have a new regime for Ukrainians, and for that matter, there's also a special regime for Belarusian citizens, those who get a so-called humanitarian visa. But with regard to Ukrainians, there is a special law that was adopted on the 12th of March, and this law provides that in case of arrival into Poland, no matter if before or after the 24th of February, every Ukrainian citizen can stay up to 18 months with an option to renew. And there is free registration of business activity. There is free registration for work. And so, no matter if you want to open a business of your own or get employment, there are no restrictions whatsoever. With regard to sole tradership, so an individual business activity, you can register online, even if you're staying in Ukraine, as long as you've got a so-called electronic qualified signature. And if you don't, then you would need to come to Poland, or you would need to sign a power of attorney to someone who is staying in Poland. So it really is very straightforward to register in Poland, even without being physically available. So to sum it up, there are no restrictions, and you can run business on equal terms with Polish citizens. And if you run business within Poland, that also opens all opportunities to work anywhere within the EU. This is simply because Poland is part of the EU, so every business registered within the EU is free to operate within the entire European Union, no matter if they are owned by nationals of third countries, so non-EU countries. Let me go through other questions. There is right from the beginning, there were questions relevant for residence permit and passport in Georgia by investing in real estate. Igor, is there anything you would like to add? Because it seems you were talking about this during your presentation, but perhaps just to nail it precisely, talking about the Georgian passport.
Механизм достаточно простой.
The mechanism is quite plain and simple. I will tell you everything about it as I underwent that presentation. I believe any person from anywhere around the world can get the Georgian passport. There should be a reason to get the passport. You need to prove to the government that you will be useful for the country because the government is more frequently issuing the temporary residence permit. In our case, for example, we have had our business in the country and we wanted the country to protect us and our business equally with the citizens of the country. And that reason was quite plain and understandable. And of course, the government is positively responded to that. And in such cases, the government is providing support to investors. Our clients are submitting the documents describing the fact that they develop the agro sector, they grow olive plantations, and of course the government is helping them out. Thank you. Igor,
Even, are you still available?
Yeah.
This one is good to see. What is the benefit of tokens? I understand it's one of those questions where you can spend hours discussing this, but can you offer a brief explanation, please?
Да, конечно. Смотрите, в общем,
yes, of course. In overall, tokens can be subdivided into payment tokens, security tokens. Should we talk about the payment tokens? ESDT, ESDC. These are the stable parameters that are assigned, that are associated with payment tokens, because it's always important to understand why the token is existing. It's existing for payments. The second category has to do with tokens that are issued for specific projects. For example, a project that wants to issue tokens to pay for its products, for example, or discounted payments, to make discounted payments for its products. Sometimes it's profitable because such tokens can be used as to collect to fundraise or to raise appropriate financing, as it avoids it else it bypasses the classical funding approach, and this type of token is used as a pre-ordered, it's used to unify the orders. Oftentimes people are using these tokens to pay for the products. And the third category of tokens has to do with attracting investments, and that will let the investors to have certain returns or certain revenues. If you're using security tokens, the first thing you will get is the opportunity to resell that token. You can speculate using the token, and also oftentimes you can get dividends and some other allowances that are envisaged, but there is a gray area in terms of the difference between the security token and the second and the first category. As we know, each project well, tokens, each project can use tokens in its own way, but these tokens are used in a comfortable way. They are existing to.
We can see that Nuri has come back. And thank you, Nuri. I'll share with you a question in a second. Before I want to ask one more question myself, and we'll be coming to a close because we have already extended this event slightly. So to answer the question about the possibility of using Polish companies like Cypriot ones for international trade, the answer is simply yes, of course. Polish companies are EU companies, just like Cypriot companies, so they are equally useful for running any business, whether within the EU or worldwide. Now, Nuri, the question for you is about a passport of which country that you can get with the minimum investment in real estate?
Turkey. For now, well, Turkey or the Caribbean. It's basically the same price. In the Caribbean countries, the price is well, it's a minimum of $220,000, but there are other fees in addition to it that would bring it up to about $300,000. But you know, the question of what the minimum real estate is a really difficult question, because you're getting citizenship, and one should think more about which citizenship one wants. And hopefully the issue of whether it's $20,000 or $15,000 more or less, it shouldn't really matter. In all these programs, to be honest, all the citizenship programs, to be honest, the real estate is not, shouldn't be the main concern. There are a lot of better real estate plays that you could make if you're just thinking about making a good real estate, if you're just thinking of making a good real estate investment, there's many other places you can invest better than in a small island in the Caribbean or in Turkey. And you know, there's some really good real estate in Toronto, Canada, that's doing very, very well, and or in Los Angeles or in Paris, not necessarily this. So I think just psychologically you need to think about what you're trying to achieve. Are you trying to achieve a good real estate return, or are you trying to achieve citizenship? And somebody wrote here that Turkey has already increased as of yesterday. It hasn't officially happened yet, that they're increasing it to 400,000, but they are going to increase it to 400,000. It's very clear, and it will happen any day, unless I haven't paid attention today. But I don't think it's happened quite yet, but it's around the corner. But again, the real estate, I mean, real estate investments should be taken as with different considerations. Real estate is very complicated yet lucrative asset class, but I want to be clear that none of the investments for citizenship are in real estate could be considered without the real estate, the citizenship aspect, to be the best possible investments that could be made.
Thank you, Nuri. And as the time is up, I would like to thank all the speakers and the attendees. Thank you for being with us, and we look forward to seeing you in the nearest future. Let's hope the next time we will meet in a more pleasant and comfortable atmosphere. So let's stay in touch. Peace.
Thank you very much.